Since last year, Portland, Oregon has been the epicenter of the country's most destructive protests and the defund the police movement. And now the city's police officers are leaving in droves. According to a new report from the Oregonian, more than 100 cops have turned in their badges or retired since July of last year. And many were brutally honest about their reasons for getting out. One cop said, quote, "Everyone is overwhelmed, overworked, and burned out." Another said, "The community shows zero support. The city council are raging idiots in addition to being stupid. Additionally, the mayor and council ignore actual facts on crime and policing in favor of radical leftist and anarchist fantasy." This is the department's biggest wave of departures in recent memory. Well, here to weigh in on this and also just law enforcement issues across the country right now, former member of the NYPD and conservative commentator, TV host John Cardillo. Mr. Cardillo, good to see you.
Hey, Buck, always good to be with you.
You know, last year, Portland city leaders slashed $16 million from the police budget, including the elimination of a gun violence reduction unit. I mean, we both know that it's not surprising that cops are leaving. What I want to know is, what does it take for the woke left mayor and city council in a city like Portland? There are other cities where we could talk about this too. We will in a moment. What does it take for them to realize this is not a good idea, John?
You know, Portland's an odd animal here, Buck. I mean, because like you say, it's been going on for the better part of a year, right? The viewers should remember that, I think it was right around this time last year, maybe a little earlier, the Washington County Sheriff, Washington County, is one of the counties that encompass downtown Portland. He decided to pull his deputies out of the city. The only reason Washington County deputies, and I believe that stands today, can go into Portland is to save a life. So they can't supplement, they can't enhance patrol, they can't back up Portland PD because he has no confidence that the Portland politicians, city council, Mayor Ted Wheeler, will back up his officers or even allow Portland PD to help protect his men and women. I don't know what it's going to take in Portland because it seems like they're burning the same courthouse down every night. Was it last night or the night before? They set fire to their Portland Police Bureau, they call it their union hall. It seems like Antifa's burning something down nightly in Portland, and the mayor goes out there and apologizes to Antifa. But interestingly enough, when they got too close to his own home, well, then he wanted an army of police officers to respond in real time, didn't he?
And, you know, John, this also comes at a time when people are beginning, I think, to figure out just how badly violence spiked last year overall. And it really started right around May, June of 2020. All of a sudden, there was this uptick, and it continued, such that right now it's believed, based on the preliminary numbers, that the murder rate in the United States last year in U.S. cities may be the highest it has been since 1995. I mean, you and I know, John, when you start talking about murder rates in American cities in the 90s, that is not something that people want to be going back to in any way, shape, or form. And yet there doesn't seem to be a recognition of how did we get there? Why would that happen in a pandemic year? What political movement may have pushed for the undermining and defunding of police? I don't know.
You know, Buck, this is, I hate to say the word, but this is an easy one to analyze, right? Because I was there. I came onto the NYPD in 1993, and I talk often to Bernie Kerik, the former New York City Police Commissioner, a good friend of mine. He's a partner of mine on a couple of media projects, and I speak to Rudy Giuliani. Now, let's forget what anybody thinks of Rudy Giuliani and the 2020 election, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Indisputably, Rudy Giuliani was one of the most successful mayors in American history, and I would say the most, far and away, the most successful mayor with regards to crime and policing and reducing crime. Late 80s, early 90s, crime is off the charts. Rudy Giuliani implements the broken windows policing strategy, which is a bit involved, but in a nutshell, if I lock you up for something minor, breaking into a vehicle, jumping a subway turnstile, more often than not, I find out you have warrants for more serious crimes, burglaries, rapes, robberies, even in some cases, murder. That happened with subway turnstile jumpers. And when you do that, and at the same time, you incentivize, you fund areas that were previously high crime areas that were run down to spruce up. City infuses a little money to paint over the graffiti or clean it up, to fix the literal broken windows while they're taking those low-level bad guys and those quality of life crimes off the street. Morale rises. The residents start calling 911. They cooperate with police identifying bad guys. because they had the cover in New York City of a strong mayor and a strong police department. The people knew that if they cooperated, the thugs weren't going to be able to come and kill them in their sleep. We've abandoned that. The Democrats in this country, and I'm going to say it, Buck, they are pro-criminal. They care more about the criminals than the victims, and they damn sure care far more about the criminals than the police. And Democratic leadership, if you look at the cities where murders are off the charts, New York, Baltimore, Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, all institutionally Democrat-run cities.